Okay, before I start, I did want to say and take a moment. I know that the majority of the people, it seems from the comments, um, who watch my channel don't particularly care for Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. And I have been one where I try to be very, like, on the fence. I like to see both sides. I want to see what's going on. I think that the hate that they get is unnecessary. Some of the things that I've seen, especially in the media, if it wouldn't have been happening so deeply, maybe we wouldn't be in this situation. So I want to say that, it is perfectly okay, because as I'm reading this, I'll probably have commentary and thoughts and feelings, and they may not be the same as yours. So we may disagree. And I think that it is okay. If my feelings don't match your feelings. I just always say that, like, if there is anybody in the comments that has different feelings than you, be polite and be respectful. Comment all you like. I love reading them. You guys are very opinionated. You stick to what you believe in and you have a stance, and that's just how you fucking feel. Similar to, like, no one's gonna tell me anything fucking different about AH. You're not gonna fucking change my mind. Period. I understand that point. I'm not trying to change anybody's mind. I'm simply looking at the information because I find it curious and giving my opinion. So it is okay if we don't agree. So it starts, I, Prince Harry, Duke of Sussex, will state as follows. I make this statement in support. I can't get over the fact that this is the first time in 130 years. That's crazy. Like, royals don't do this shit. I make this, but they feel like they should. I make this statement in support, and I feel like they should, because if you hack my fucking phone, I'm coming for your ass too. I make this statement in support of my claim for damages and other remedies against MGM Limited, the publishers of Daily Mirror, The People, and the Sunday Mirror newspapers. Okay, so when it says The People, is that People magazine? Or is that like another People, like a UK People? I don't know. The facts and matters set out in this witness statement derive from my own knowledge and are true except where I indicate that the information derives from a third party. So he's speaking out from what he's feeling and saying. Okay, like this is what happened from his insight. In which case is true to the best of my knowledge and belief. This witness statement was prepared by my solicitors following a series of video calls with them. In this witness statement, I refer to documents which are listed at the end of the statement. These include 50 newspaper articles published by defendant's newspaper, which contain private and confidential information relating to me and my associates, which were not publicly known, and I will now understand might have obtained unlawfully by the defendant, along with the documents that have been disclosed in the course of my claim. So he gives his background. He goes into the fact that he was born into the British royal family on the 15th of September 1984 to his father, King Charles III, and his mother, Diana, Princess of Wales. Wow. Talk about talk about a nepotism baby, like parents, okay? So he goes into his background about how he went into the military. After the military, he began working as full-time for a royal family, representing his mother, his grandmother, late Queen. Then he goes into meeting his wife, Meghan, in 2016. A lot of shit went down in 2016. My goodness. He goes into where they were married at St. George's Chapel. And then he goes into his son being born and how he now lives in California with his wife and how his daughter was born in 2021. And then he goes into his relationship with the British tabloid and the press. Okay? Just took a moment to read something on Twitter, and it looks like Andrew Green is the name of the lawyer for the Mirror. And I keep saying that they feel like this guy is a beast and he destroyed Prince William because he picked apart parts from Spare, in which were different and kind of conflict. So let's go to that, and then I'll finish up with the witness testimony. Okay, like I keep seeing contradict, like what is it that he contradicted? Okay, it says Prince Harry's court statement contradicts what he said in the book. Prince Harry was told his court witness statement contradicts his book in relation to a disagreement between himself and Prince William over Princess Diana's former butler. Paul Burrell was his mother's trusted confidant, but after death, he wrote a tell-all book spilling her secrets, which I have not even, was not on my radar. The Duke of Sussex is suing the UK-based, yes, we know that. However, Harry's account of what happened appeared to disintegrate during cross-examination, which started today and is going to go into tomorrow, in a dramatic moment that may remind some of Queen Elizabeth II's statements in relation to his 2021 Oprah Winfrey interview, that some recollections may vary. So the queen is like, you know, maybe a little bit of what he's saying is true, but it's kind of been changed a little bit here. Maybe he's not remembering it completely correct. They have a way with words, you know, recollections may vary versus you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, that's not what went down. It's just like so fancy and posh. So recollections may vary. Harry said the article reveals details of a private disagreement between himself and his brother regarding a proposed meeting with Paul Burrell, our mother's former butler. In a live testimony added, this kind of article sows distrust between brothers. Okay. He continued, the article accurately sets out the position that my brother was open to fixing a meeting with Paul to discuss his ongoing exposés about our mother. However, I had made up my mind that the kind of person I thought Paul was and was firmly against meeting him at this point in my life. To the best of my recollection, I do not believe the meeting went ahead in 2003. Then Andrew Green, the lawyer of the Mirror, told Harry the 55-page witness statement submitted to the court contradicted his memoir, The Spare. The attorney brought up the book, The Spare, which I have like down here somewhere. He brought up the book, The Spare. Oh God, and he's reading his fucking book in front of his face. Now that is too much. Like instantly, like if I were Harry, like I would have gulped, my heart would have fucking dropped, like, oh, what the fuck? Okay, so he pulls out the book. The attorney reads a section to the court. Mummy's former butler had penned a tell-all which actually told nothing. It was merely on one man's self-satisfying, self-centering versions of events. That is shady, Harry. My mother once called this butler a friend, trusted him implicitly. We did too. Now this. He was milking her disappearance for money. It made my blood boil. I wanted to fly home and confront him. I phoned Pa, announced that I was getting on a plane. I'm sure it was the one and only conversation I had with him while I was in Australia. He then, in a separate phone call, Willie talked him out of it. During Harry's live witness testimony, Green told Harry the two versions contradict each other and asked which is accurate. So he wants to know. Sorry, I had something in my eye. But Mr. Green wants to know. Did you want to meet him? Were you angry about what was said in this book and all this dirty details and everything, and you were angry and you wanted to meet him and William talked you out of it? Or was the book a whole bunch of fucking nothing and you never wanted to meet him and because you weren't concerned? It was just nothing. This is just guy was just self-serving and, you know, he was just trying to have basically a money grab. Which one is it? Oh, God. And apparently it goes on because Mr. Green asked him, saying that the two versions contradict each other, which one is accurate? Harry replies, I wrote it when I was 38 years old. In this story, I was 18. Green then says, the point is the account of what you wanted. And Harry replied, I assume I would have wanted the meeting. So he's saying that he wanted the meeting, but that contradicts what's in his witness testimony, that he wasn't really feeling that shit. He ain't want to see that man. It wasn't about that at all. So Harry is now saying that he wanted a meeting, and that that William talked him out of it pretty much. The attorney then pressed Harry further, asking, does this mean that the statement in your witness statement is incorrect? Harry said at the time he was in the Australian outback. Green pressed further, asking whether he wanted a meeting or not. The prince said, I cannot remember whether I wanted a meeting or not. See, this is why we need to have cameras. Fuck, because I would have loved to see that, because that is very tense. And because it's already out there that, recollections may vary, they kind of came out there with the whole, asking of the color of the, baby Archie, and then saying, it's something bias, racial bias or something like that, and not actual racism. It kind of fucks with his credibility of what it is that he's saying. And that is kind of it is a point for them. It's a point for them, because it's just is what you're saying in your witness statement accurate? Is what you're saying in your book accurate? What do we believe? Because you swore on a Bible, you swore on the earth. It gets into a whole rack of fucking shit. So that was not good. And I'm glad that I saw that before I went into more of the witness statement, just because I have a better understanding. And this Mr. Green seems like he's trying to come out the woodwork. The Mirror paid a cash. They had a wagon full of fucking cash for this man. They said they are not taking us out on hacking terms. Nerd. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. It really is. Oh man. So going back into the witness statement of Harry, he's talking about his relationship with the press. He says, it's no secret that I have had a continued difficult relationship with the tabloids in the UK. In my experience as a royal family member, each of us gets cast into a specific role by the tabloid press. You start off as a blank canvas. I do remember reading that in the book. So it's once you get a role, that's how they run with your fucking story. But you can decide to either play into that or not. And I do remember him saying that he decided, well, if you're going to put all these fucking stories out about me, then I might as well make it fucking true. So he says, in my experience as a member of the royal family, each of us gets cast into a specific role. You start off as a blank canvas, and then they start to edge you towards playing the role that suits them best, which sells as many papers as they can, especially if you're the spare to the heir. You're either the playboy prince or the failure, the dropout, or in my case, the thicko, the cheat, the underage drinker. Lord, the irresponsible drug user, the list goes on. As a teenager and in my early 20s, I ended up feeling as though I was playing a lot up for the headlines and stereotypes they wanted to pin on me, mainly because I thought that if they're printing this rubbish about me and the people were believing it, then I might as well do the crime, so to speak. So then it was a downward spiral. Oh Lord, whilst they would, of course, report of my successes in life, it seemed to me that they took far more greater pleasure in knocking him down. So his feelings would get hurt, he's saying, yeah, sometimes they would report on my successes, but most times they would talk about all the negative shit. But that is media. That is newspaper. That is whatever. The more salacious, the more clickbaity your headline is, which typically is going to be negative, the more people are going to click on it. That's just, if it's something positive, people are going to click on it. It's just factual. They don't care that you got an A on your report card in school. That's what you should be doing. But is it a little bit more interesting that you went out to a pub and were partying and took somebody home and someone spotted, yeah, that's a hell of a lot more interesting. You know, that's just human nature. And I do think that this is why it's difficult. I do think that, like, that would be very hard to live under that type of pressure and scrutiny and people's eyes on you. And while I guess he didn't really have a choice because he was born into the royal family, like he stated, but to have that life, you know, the wealth and the royal titles and, you know, everything that goes along with it, there is a price to pay. And I feel like a lot of the other royals understand that and have like kind of dealt with that. But on the other end, I don't feel like they have gotten it as bad as what I've seen with like Diana or Meghan, you know? And I don't really recall William getting pressed like Harry, like talking about like his school days and stuff like that. I remember more so it was towards Kate, you know, they termed her Weighty Katie and, you know, stuff like that. So they kind of didn't do it for the heir. But like you said, they went after the spare. So it sucks. It really does suck because you're born into this. You have such privilege, but then you have to deal with all the bullshit of people saying everything about your fucking life. I don't know, and that's why I'm on the motherfucking fence because I don't know how I would deal with that. I really wouldn't. Like, He goes on. Whenever I would have a relationship, I have always tried my best to be the best partner that I possibly could, but every woman has her limit. Unfortunately, they are not just in a relationship with me, but the entire tabloid press as the third party. At no point did I have a girlfriend or a relationship with anyone without the tabloids getting involved and ultimately trying to ruin it, using whatever unlawful means at their disposal. Again, I will go into this more in detail in my statement, later in my statement. So he's saying that they're even trying to get into his relationships and fuck them up. Now, I would understand, like, if they want to, like, report on it, like, you know, it's a young couple, they're out, they're partying, you know, what they're wearing, what clubs they're going to. But what are the tabloids doing to ruin your relationship? And why? Why are they wanting to ruin it? Because it sells more. If there's discord in a relationship, everybody wants to know about it. But if it's a happy, harmonious couple living their life, nobody gives a fuck. Wow. Wow. Mm-mm-mm. There also seems to be a real blurring of the lines in terms of what is public interest and what is interest to the public. The tabloids concentrated on salacious stories about my relationships and so on to satisfy the latter, while appearing to completely ignore the former, as a means to justifying their intrusion. I simply don't understand and never have how the inner private details of my relationships, for example, could have anything to do with the well-being of society or the running of the country, and therefore be for public interest, or indeed how to use a voicemail interception and other unlawful information gathering techniques to uncover such private information could either. So he's saying, what are my private life and private relationships? That's not like for public interest. So like, you know, the public knows what's going on and so that they're aware of, like, that is like private shit. It'd be something different if he was doing something to affect society or this, that, and the other, I guess is what he's saying. It's not public interest. It's just being fucking nosy. Harry is saying, y'all are nosy as hell. Get out of my business. Like, leave me the F alone. But you're just never going to have that. And my thing is, would you even, growing up as a royal and having all this attention and this, that, and another, and then going into a life where you completely have none of that, would you really even like it? Would you? Would you? Because it's not like now, yes, you went to LA and everything like that. You're still known. But if nobody knew you, if it was like nobody gave a fuck, would you like that type of lifestyle? Like, I don't know. I don't know. It even got to the stage where the tabloids would routinely publish articles about me that were often wrong, but intercepted with snippets of truth, which I now think were the most likely gleaned from voicemail interceptions and or unlawful information gathering. So he would be like, oh, there would be a story out, and he'd be reading it. He'd be like, well, that's kind of true, but y'all put a spin up. But how did you get that? How did you get that information? Who is talking? And I could see how that could create a lot of discord within the fucking family, because there's like, who the fuck told about what I have going on if I only told you? Did you go and rat me out? Like, there's a whole type of discord, and whole time is the press and the media intercepting their shit, further creating drama within the family while creating drama outside the family. It is complete chaos. Oh my God. And the press is running all of them. The press is playing them. The press kind of controls the royal family in a way, because they care what is being printed in, like, you know, approval rates and who likes who, and y'all, like, wow. So they were routinely published articles about me. So they were gleaned from the truth. Okay. This created an alternative and distorted version of me and my life to the general public, being those people that I had to serve and interact with as part of the royal family, to the point where any one of the thousands of people that I met or was introduced to on any given day could easily have gone, you know what, you're an idiot. I've read all these stories about you, and now I'm going to stab you. So he's saying that these, you know, articles being put out about him has him looking fucking crazy out in these streets, and you got me looking this type of way, and I'm meeting all these people every day, and they can hold up and tell me in my face I'm a dumbass. You're crazy, you're a drug user, and decide because they don't like what I'm doing that you guys put out there and spun that they want to fucking stab me. It's a lot. But besides the fact that they have, like, don't they have a lot of security too? And I don't know if they get super close to people. Actually, I have seen the walkabouts. They do get really close to people. But, oh, poor Harry. Like, this is just, it's a lot. It's a fucking lot. And I do have some sympathy, because I don't know if I could deal with that. I don't know if I could deal with, like, the constant, you know, there's all this shit, and then I still gotta fucking show my face with this story and this, that, and other. But then it's like, if you know it's not true, then fuck it, you know? I don't know. Oh, my sister's calling me. Oh, that was so good talking to my sister. But anyways, he ends his witness testimony in speaking about his relationship with the press, saying, I genuinely feel that in every relationship that I've ever had, be that with friends, girlfriends, with family, or even with the army, there's always been a third party involved, namely the tabloid press. So he feels like whatever relationship he's in, there's always this other leg of it that has this whole other spin and insight to what's going on, because they're hacking into his shit. That's an interesting dynamic. Third party. Having seen me grow up from a baby, being born into this contractual relationship without any choice. He says without any choice. So if you had the choice, which, I mean, I guess you've been given the choice, so you've made the choice to remove yourself. If you had the choice, and because you're saying this is without any, would you take away the titles? Would you give up your titles? Because you're saying that you didn't have a choice. This contractual relationship. You know what I mean? So when he says stuff like that, I kind of feel like, yes, I understand it's tough, but I don't know if he also, and I hope he's not also forgetting the privilege that he does have within this contractual relationship that he was given without any choice, that, like, people all over the world can't even fucking feed themselves, but the royal family has umpteens of jewels locked up in their fucking coffers, you know, that could feed I don't know how many, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like you've really got to think about it as a bigger picture than more than just yourself sometimes. I don't know. This is such a tough situation. And scrutinize my every move. The tabloids have known the challenges and mental health struggles that I've had to deal with throughout my childhood and adult life. And for them to play on that and use it to their own advantage, I think is, well, criminal. And I do think that the tabloids and the press have gone far at times. I've seen it with the Johnny Depp trial. I've seen it with, you know, like Britney Spears and shit like that. Like, certain things, they really go too far. They go too fucking far, especially if it's something sensationalized and they know that people want to watch it. They know that people want to know what's going on. The royal family, Meghan Markle, Prince Harry, people love that shit. Just like even on my own small pinprick of a fucking channel on this platform, my views on Meghan and Harry videos versus just something else is drastically different. People care about what it is that they have going on. And it's just, it fucking sucks. And I think that, especially given the situation, he has this resentment against the tabloids with his mother and what they did to her, because I do feel like they were a big part of what happened. He has this resentment and this anger against them that he feels like he blames them for everything that has gone wrong in his life. And in some ways, they have been intricate in it. And like he said, he feels like there's been a third party in every single one of his relationships. Is this media? Is this press? So, like, I do see it from both sides. I see where he's coming from. I feel where he's coming from. I can get that. But on the other side, being born into this life, and you're saying you're born into this contractual relationship without any choice, it's like, okay, you have chosen to just, you know, separate yourself from the family. I wonder if it's a choice, you know, if he really wanted it to be done. He's like, I'm going to give up my titles. And they said, okay, fine. Would you do that so that you're not in this at all? Like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think that we'll know. But then he goes into his My Associates. So we'll have to get into that a little bit later, because this video is literally almost an hour long. And nobody wants that, needs that, or cares for that. So, but the cross comes tomorrow. This guy, Andrew Green, I think it was, Mr. Green, is coming for him. He's already on this first day shown that there is some lack of credibility there with Harry, and maybe his recollections varying, and having him admit, you know, pretty much he doesn't know whether he wanted to meet this Paul Burrell, the ex-former secretary butler of Diana. He doesn't know. But in his witness statement, he said one thing, and in the spare, he said another. So what is it? What is it, Harry? We're waiting, and we want to know, because now we're here on this public, you know, high court, and we're doing this case, and at the end of this joint, somebody's gonna win, somebody's gonna lose, and it's going to be very, I'm gonna be sitting here waiting and watching to see what happens, and I will let you guys know. So if you want to hear more about this trial and everything like that, and the royals and all that good stuff, because I'm leaning in, obviously I'll talk about other stuff that comes up or whatever interests me, but think about liking, think about subscribing. If not, I completely understand, but I will see you guys in another video very, very soon.